Good evening, Star Wars players. Coming to you live with another exciting episode of Holotheatre. Tonight's episode is episode 11. If you've been keeping track, it's fitting that episode 11 has Lenny on. Lenny, player card development, 2018 Endor Grand Prix winner. Apparently, he's socially distancing in his home with a bunch of alcohol behind him. And joining me tonight is my co-host Justin Miyashiro, also known as jagteq. He's actually currently playing an exciting game of Star Wars right now against MHT Matt Harrison Trainer in the. I want to say what this is the.
I believe this should be the St. Patrick's Day League.
And you're
The
playing
Shamrock Shakedown.
So
Shamrock
and
Shakedown's
it looks like that. Is that game over now?
I mean, he's
Oh,
he
He
said
conceded.
GG and said
He
he
said
can't.
he
yeah,
conceded.
yeah.
So
Oh, okay, I said there.
he conceded at the end. So I will say this: thanks to Matt for conceding there. Not because you conceded to Justin or anything, but thanks for letting my co-host actually interact with us tonight. It's going to be an exciting show as always. We're going to talk to Lenny about player card development. How in the hell he won the Ender Grand Prix in 2018? I mean, really? And
if
some of
you
the
know,
other stuff that he
if
did.
you know, just let me know.
I don't know. But on top of that, we're going to talk about some of the OCS stuff, the PC. It's going to be exciting because right after this episode, we're going to have game 2 between Joker King, who is Chris Hall, and Tarunzo, who is Adam Tarunzo. So we'll go over some of the PC stuff. We'll go over the OCS. And then we're going to stump Lenny with a lore question. But first, we're going to start with Lenny as our guest, as always. So, Lenny, you're on player card development. So, you want to talk to us a little bit about that for, like what you guys do?
Sure. Essentially, so if you're a Star Wars player, which I assume you are if you're watching this, and you, if you acquire a player card design, whether that those are sometimes given away as prizes, they're sometimes given as rewards for annual donations to the PC.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've got a player card design, we are the ones you work with first. And you basically give us your ideas. Let us know, like, what do you want your player card to do? And we will help work with you and help get that card sort of molded into a form that, like, yeah, this would be good in the game. This is balanced. This is something we can present to D&D, design and development, to go to the next step in the process, which is usually, once we sign off on it, D&D has to sign off on it, and then it goes to playtesting, and then we get playtesting data back, and it'll go back to the player and say, okay, here's what playtesting said. Do you want to make, we would recommend these 2 changes. Okay, if that sounds good, we'll send it back to playtesting. And it sort of ping pongs back and forth until it's ready. But that's basically what we are, is just sort of that first line, okay, what's a card that should be in the game?
Okay. So how long have you been on player card development?
Oh boy, I don't actually remember when I first got onto it. I want to say it was sometime around 2018. I know I'm the longest person, or of the people who are there now, I'm the one who's been doing it the longest, which is wild to me. But yeah, no, it's been a few years.
Okay, and so who else is on the team, if you want to go over that really quick?
Fungineer is on the team. He's sort of our team lead right now.
Okay.
Andrew Moss, Wend, is on the team. CRG just got on the team. And am I forgetting somebody? I'm probably forgetting somebody, and they're going to feel really bad.
Well, I mean, there's an organization chart. Do we know if player card development's on the organization chart? I want to say they should be.
I've never seen the organization chart.
You've never seen the organization chart? What is wrong with you?
I don't know.
I mean, Jared worked tirelessly to make this organization chart, and clearly Lenny is too busy to go look at the organization chart. Honestly, I've only looked at it twice.
Where
So
is the organization chart?
if you go to the home page, so for those who do not know about the organization chart, it's actually really simple to find. Let me actually show everybody while we're on this topic.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at an old one. So.
Our organization chart, if you go to About Us, underneath Awards and Hall of Fame, it's right there's the org chart. This is our org chart right here. So you can actually click on it, zoom in. You can't really move it around, so I wish that was something that we could do, but really can't do yet. But looking at it right now.
Yeah, we don't seem to be on there.
Here we go.
Oh,
you guys right are on it right here. Paul McPherson. Wow, Lenny, why?
I don't.
You forgot about Paul.
I don't see where that is.
Right here.
That's like directly under Chris Kelly's name.
Yeah.
Sorry, Paul.
You're making him sad.
I'm probably on. All right.
I mean, that's fair and all, but hey, you know what? Now you know about it. Now you can go study it, and you can learn a thing about some Star Wars CCG. But so you've been in so player card development. It's been around for a while. This is we've like you said that you guys have been doing this for a while. It's donations, reward cards. Have you guys like had any issues with cards in the past?
Yeah, there are sometimes cards that come up where the initial idea the player gives us, and without naming any names, of course, but the initial idea a player gives us might be something we think is just bananas.
Oh, come on, you can name names.
No, it's okay.
Oh, come on.
In situations like that, often Chris Kelly, the design advocate, will step in and get involved and have sort of a heart-to-heart with the player. Sometimes, not always. Sometimes we can take care of it on our own. Or sometimes it would be a card that is just a direction we do not want to take the game in, and design agrees with us in those situations, and then we have to sort of talk a player down, like maybe try a different card, try a different idea. Those are always, I don't want to say uncomfortable, but those are always conversations that we have to have sometimes.
That's understandable. I mean, people can get passionate about what they want with the cards. They can like, oh, I've got this great idea. Why can't design just let me go crazy with it? I mean, especially after I mean, if you donate it's like $350 or something like that to get a main design, why can't you just go crazy with it? I mean, you're shelling out your hard-earned money to the PC as a donation. You should be able to go a little crazy.
A little crazy, sure, especially with a main. Mains are good in that, like, they're pretty much balanced against other mains. So, like, if you want to make a new Vader, well, it should, or ideally should be, comparable in strength to Darth Vader Emperor's Enforcer, who's super good. Or Space Vader, who's super good. Or Dark Lord of the Sith, who's super good. Or Lord Vader, who's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, all right, if you want to make a Vader, yeah, you have sort of a blank check to, like, make something really strong, because it's Vader, and it's going to compete for deck slots with the other Vaders. But I mean, that's part of, and those types of balance issues are always like something we are dealing with, and sometimes the player card developers don't agree with each other on that, and it just comes, two people might be totally fine with a card, and then a third person will come in and just put their foot down and say, no, I'm not stamping this. It's ridiculous. And I'm someone who's been on both sides of those types of conversations within the player card developers, where are you okay with something, or are you not okay with something? And sometimes the solution is, Well, we'll just stamp it for now and let it go to playtesting and see how bad it is.
Well, I mean, that's just.
And then when it comes back,
I-
we'll make some changes. Or
I-
like, let's stamp it just so we can see what D&D thinks.
Well, I mean, that's kind of
And
passing the
then
buck.
it
But I mean,
is.
I understand that. But I mean, but
Yeah.
is that fair to the player who's designing the card?
Well, look, the player is clear from the outset that just because we say it's okay, that does not mean your card is in the game now. It
Okay.
means there's still multiple steps it has to go through in order to get into the game. You'll have input on all of those steps. Now, if playtesting, and to be totally honest, the reverse happens just as often, where
True.
a card will go to playtesting, and the playtesting data we get will come back and say, yeah, this card wasn't strong enough. It's just, some people tried it in decks and it just doesn't do much, and it would, be cuttable, worth putting in a different card. And I'm worried that if we print this card as is, it's gonna just be binder fodder.
I will
So
say,
like let's beef up this part, let's beef up that part, let's think of some new text to put for this other thing and send it back.
so
That happens just as often as like, nope, sorry, your card's broken.
So here's my question though. I can think of one card in particular that is a player card develop or a PCD card that didn't happen to. The VX4 Ski Speeder.
Oh,
That
I,
card-
thought,
that card needs fixed.
I thought you were going to bring up Tarkin's bounty again.
No, that card's perfect. Leave it as it is. Like if there was a reset and they took away Tarkin's bounty, I would strike. Just put it there. I would be like, you know what, Holotheatre, Mike, drop, done, out of here. So keep if you want me to keep doing this, keep Tarkin's bounty in the game. Just saying. But no, I mean the Ski Speeder, like
The Ski Speeder's a cool card.
it's cool, but it sucks.
Well, I think there's not a natural deck that it goes in right now. I think if we make a like crate operations deck where you've got your ski speeders and your resistance guys hiding in the base,
Okay.
and you've got like the door that locks and the Empire has to try to like pummel through it or whatever, like that could be an objective. It just isn't yet.
Well, you know what? It's
And-
funny because Chris Kelly's watching. Hey, Chris, what do you got for the Ski Speeder? Let's make it better. We've done that with Mon Cal. We've done that with like so many other cards. Let's make the Ski Speeder better. That's my goal for 2021. I want to see a better Ski Speeder.
I was going to say, I feel like the Ski Speeder is actually like close. I don't think it's far off of playable. Like, I would agree that I probably wouldn't put it in most decks right now, but I don't think it's that far from being a card that you could play. I don't think it needs much help.
You're just sugarcoating this, Justin.
I mean, I'm not saying I haven't played it. Like I've put it in old LSX before.
I haven't, not once. It's my card. I haven't played it once.
Like as a Destiny 5 reacting vehicle.
Yeah.
That protects the pilot. So it's an open vehicle, but it protects the pilot from force lightning, trample, and weapons somewhat.
Hey, Lenny, say hi to your wife. She's
back there.
Yeah, she just walked on screen.
I mean, you want the biggest problem with the Ski Speeder is that there's not a pilot fin.
If Finn were a pilot, that would be handy. I almost for that like we'd need a different version of Finn.
Yeah.
But like
Poe's
Poe would be
fine.
great on one of those.
Yeah. But you know what? Let's get off the Ski Speeder. That's like I could talk an hour. I could talk for an hour about the Ski Speeder. First of all, I wanted to make the dang thing enclosed, like it should be, but still.
But it's actually not enclosed.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that
But
falls
it
off
is.
that makes them not enclosed. Like I think that's
It's
reasonable.
both. Those things go in space, and it's okay. No, those things can survive in space. It's canon. I did the research.
Okay, well, I'll defer to you on the research. I have not done that research.
That's fair.
I will say, as a member of playtesting, I have seen a number of cards go through go through rounds of playtesting without talking too specifically about which individual cards. I've seen a number of cards go through rounds of playtesting that seemed very clearly to be player card designs because they stood out from existing themes, and I actually kind of feel like most of those cards are really, really cool. So
yeah, they're all interesting ideas, and it's been really interesting over the past few years to see like when a given player gets a player card design and they come to us like, here's what I want to make. You learn a little bit about everybody's different personalities. Like, okay, this player likes these kinds of cards, that player likes those kinds of cards, and I think it's a cool way to get to know like more than just like, oh hey, he likes football or whatever. Like, you really get into people's heads and like what kinds of cards do they want in the game.
And that's fair.
That's not something I was necessarily expecting when I started doing this, but it's been a very cool part of the process.
So, are there any? So, what do you like about the process, and what do you not like?
What I like about the process is, like, if you're a player card developer, I mean, most of what you're doing is listening to other people's ideas and saying yes or no. But there are times where it's appropriate for me to weigh in and say, hey, it's your card, but here's how I would design it with like these changes. And you know, if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. That's just my idea. And sometimes those make it through. And it's just very cool to sort of have my fingers in a bunch of different card designs without having to actually be on D&D.
Yeah, and
not that there's anything wrong with being on D&D, Chris, who's watching.
Well, let's not sugarcoat for Chris. So, you've created your own player card, correct? You've created the Boba Fett blaster rifle.
I did. That's my player card.
How did you? Okay,
everybody who keeps losing to CCT Flip can blame me.
You know what? I love the card. I will say, I mean, I like the card. I'm glad it's being played. I like CCT Flip. It's like to me, it's like a troll type of a deck, but that's
I've got a foil foil V slip for it.
Yeah,
get Lenny to sign it.
That was my foil one.
Yeah.
So.
I need a foil.
Yeah,
one.
no, I'll sign that for you.
But
for sure.
So, during the process that you did for that card, like how did you go? Like how did you feel with the process? Was it easier because you were on player card development, or was it harder?
Oh, I wasn't on player card development yet when I made that card. But basically, so that year, if you donated a certain amount, you got a V Light design, which is like you get one of, like, they had a limited list of cards. So if you donate, you get one of these cards you can pick.
Okay.
And it has to be a half slip. So you can't change the card title, you can't change the card type, you can't change the image. But you get to design a half slip for one of these cards.
You could do that if you're special and fight.
Boba Fett, and Boba Fett's blaster rifle was one of them. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. And my initial goal was, I want this to be a gun that's so good that you would play a non-maintenance Boba Fett. I want the gun to only go on a non-maintenance Boba Fett, and I want it to be like good enough where you would consider playing like Blaster Rack and a non-maintenance Boba Fett. So I had all this crazy stuff on it, like makes him power +3, draws if unable, immune less than 5, you know, pulls quick draw, all kinds of like different crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And I toned it down. And then my focus kind of became, okay, this should do something cool and global while it's on Boba Fett, still non-maintenance, so that you would consider doing that instead of the IG-88 start in CCT. And we kicked around all of these ideas for that, like, oh, would it affect all of your battle destiny draws or all of your force drains or whatever? And then it was just like a light bulb moment. I settled on, wait a minute. What if the bonus was, while it's on Boba Fett, you can just teleport to the audience chamber and flip your objective. And then that's your global benefit. And you get all the stuff from the objective, and you get all the bonuses from having Jabba's prize at the audience chamber, and you get, despair at the audience chamber, and all of that stuff. Like, what if that's what it did? And then we ran with that, and then the card's basically that's basically what the card is now.
Yeah.
And that was before Boba Fett V existed. So I was looking at it from the perspective of like, well, would this make non-virtual Cloud City or Special Edition Boba Fett, who's like deploy 5 and terrible, both of them, would that make them worth playing? And the answer to that was obviously no.
Yeah.
But it was a step in the right direction, and design saw what I was getting at. And then they made the virtual Boba Fett, and they made the virtual Carbonite Chamber console, and they made the errata to despair, and just turned it into an actual deck that's not just like a weird rogue thing anymore. It's actually like one of the top dark decks, and I feel really proud of that like I sort of had my own hand in kicking that off.
So who came up with the idea for the teleportation? Was it you or somebody else?
No, that was me.
That was you? Okay.
That was me.
Because I will say
like,
this.
hey, like, let's have it do the same thing Sith Probe Droid does, except with Boba Fett and a captive, instead of a Sith and a captive.
So now I know design is trying to move away from auto setup. Like you do the same thing every first turn. Like look at IE where it used to be, okay, you pull Piet, you drop into the docking bay, you pull your your Admiral's Order, your battle deployment, you get a ATST onto him or something like that. Do you feel that card is an auto setup? Like your first turn, you drop down Boba Fett, you use the 2 Force to transform over to the audience chamber. Do you feel that it is like that? Or do you think it's fair?
I mean, I would say yes, it's auto setup, but also I think it's fair. I don't think being automatic makes it automatically unfair. Like it's sort of like, yeah, turn 1 is auto setup. You're going to do the same thing on turn 1 every time. And at the end of the turn, you're going to be left with Boba Fett by himself at the audience chamber. Right? Like that's not, oh my God, crazy good.
Well, I mean, now, I mean, with the new Boba Fett, where you can pull, like, your opponent comes down with a character, and they battle.
Oh, dude,
well,
I was playing a game yesterday where Hitko came down with Jedi Luke on turn 1, battled. I went and got my stunning leader, and he played impressive, most impressive to cancel the stunning leader, and then overflow Boba Fett for like 10. Right? It's not for sure.
Yeah.
And it's also like, even if they leave you alone, like, okay, so you can pay 3 to drain for 2? Like, that's not like the issue with the auto setup in like IE with the Admiral's Orders and pulling all the vehicles is just like, what are you supposed to do about that?
Yeah, I think
they're like they're pulling all this stuff and they're flipping their objective and they're setting up free drains of like 1, 1, 1, and 1. And
General Leia.
I think the part that gets skipped over with the auto setup as far as like the difference between CCT versus IE and other decks is, to me, the CCT auto setup ends with the step pray and then question mark and then profit. Like that's the like you're like, wow, I really hope that the trick that I have in my hand and the pull with Boba Fett is good enough, and then that I can also then counterbeat them at the audience chamber. Like you still kind of need some stuff to go
I hope that they don't come to the audience chamber.
Yeah.
And that they just do something else instead. And then on my turn, I can reinforce, I can set up Scum, I can set up IG-88.
Yeah.
Like, you haven't set everything up.
I will say this. I don't know how many times playing that CCT deck, I punted the audience chamber into the force pile. I've done it more times than I can count with both hands. Like I actually have to take off my slippers and count on my toes how many times I've done it. But that's besides the
That'll
point.
happen.
I played enough of the CCT that I have actually played the. I've been with He's All Yours Bounty Hunter in my deck. Done the all right. I'll activate one force to pull He's All Yours Bounty Hunter.
And of course, it's that
Missed
one force.
because it was the one force, and then it's like, all right, well, I'll activate the rest, and then I also activate the audience chamber. It's like, really?
Man.
All right, great.
Now, I mean, I will say this though. Chris Hall, Joker King in the chat actually makes a good point. You're flipped once you get Boba Fett to the audience chamber, and it's for the entire game.
Yeah.
I mean, you lose half of the benefits though.
But there's no. What benefits does the zero side have? Like, look at the
flipping an objective isn't. Flipping an objective doesn't automatically make your deck good.
Well, with this deck, it does.
Right? Flipping an objective, like, all right, yes, it automatically will flip the objective at the end of turn 1, but where are you at the end of turn 1? And the answer to that question is you're where court is at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Because you still need to set up scum, and you still need to find your activation.
But you have an immunity lesson 4 Boba Fett, you have retrieval, and you have despair going. So
I think it's worth pointing out though that like without the Boba Fett's blast rifle, right?
Oh, CCG wouldn't exist.
Without this setup,
it would just be IG-88 at the prison.
Yeah, it's like without this setup, you'd never try to flip CCT.
True.
No, of course not.
I don't even think I think the only times I ever saw the flip side of CCT when I was playing like 12 card CCT and my opponent flipped over like WAP, so they didn't have a rebel in their deck to give me, and then I auto flipped, which was terrible. That was really bad.
Yeah.
So
no, I don't think that, like, just because you can flip your objective on turn 1 I don't think means that your deck is too good. I think that if you flip your objective on turn 1 and your deck is too good, then that's something we should probably address. But like the turn 1 of CCT, in my view, is just not a problem.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to pay for your drain on turn 2 when you're probably not activating enough anyway, and your 1 retrieval is probably going to get simple tricks.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just not as simple. I was gonna say, I think it's just not as simple as like the objective. Flipping your objective on turn 1 is like too good. Like it depends on the objective, right? If you flip Rescue the Princess on turn 1, that would probably be too good.
That would be bananas.
Yeah, but obviously, if you flip Agents of the Black Sun on turn 1, that's not too good because that also happens every time that luck is with you, like, or every time that luck isn't specifically against you, right? Like,
yeah,
for sure. And it really, it's more than just are you flipping the objective on turn 1. It's what kind of position are you in at the end of turn 1. And to me, the type of position CCT is in at the end of turn 1 is fine. It's not any better or worse than most other decks.
That's fair.
Even though it happens to be flipped at that point, it doesn't really start getting most of the benefits from being flipped until a little bit later.
So, but you know what? Let's shift gears really quick. Let's go talk about.
And side note, I absolutely love that is CCT flip too good is an actual conversation that we're having in 2021. I love that. If you had told myself 3-4 years ago that we would be having that conversation, I would just hug you.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that's like telling like yourself 3-4 years ago that the Washington Nationals would win the World Series.
That wouldn't even compute,
right?
To be totally honest.
That's fair. So, but let's switch gears really quick and talk about your indoor Grand Prix run. I know we talked about it a little bit back in 2018, but you were the person who basically introduced Imperial Supply map.
That wasn't 2018.
Was it 2018?
I'll take you through the timeline of all of my insane map decks.
Yeah,
because there were several different builds. In 2018, I had looked at a list that Matt Carulli had played it at the MPC. That's where I got the deck list from earlier that year. And apparently that was Jimmy Fallon's build.
Okay.
that didn't play, and map was still a new objective at this point. It
Yeah.
was, I think, at that NPC it was maybe a month old, and so by this point at Endor it's like 6 months old. And Jimmy and Matt had this deck where they weren't playing any Starkiller base sites at all, which immediately caught my interest because I think the Starkiller base sites are terrible. Because in a trooper deck you can't spread, at least not well. And you want to have just the one battleground site on the table, and you just want to be kicking them in the face at that battleground or at their sites. You don't want to have a planet with 2 or 3 sites of your own and have to defend all of them. That's not good news. So I really liked that aspect of it, that it wasn't playing the Starkiller base sites. And then they were also doing the guns, and they were doing Fear. Fear is an interesting card in a map deck because you play it, and Fear is they either have to lose 2 cards from hand or 1 from the top of reserve deck.
Okay.
So you play, I think their build, they were playing like 5 of those or something like that. So you get 1 into your starting hand, you play it on turn 1. What does Diplo do? Right? Because they don't want to peel 1 and have it be Alderaan.
No.
Or like, there are a bunch of decks like that where like you don't want to peel 1 from the top of your deck and have it be the key card.
Yeah.
So like people would often lose 2 from hand, which is like, cool, I'm making a 2-for-1 trade, and then when I flip the objective, I'm just stacking it right back on top and playing it again. So I basically ran with that idea, and then like as I play tested it and it was doing okay, I actually with an early build of that deck with the blasters and the fears beat Bastion in the first ever OCS game. like February, the first qualifying tournament right after they invented the OCS.
Yeah.
First month was like February of 2018.
I want to see it. I want to see the replay.
And it was noon. Like it was gonna start at noon on like February 1st or whatever day it was, and I was online at noon. As soon as it dropped, refreshed the browser, there it was, and I saw that somebody had already put up a game, so I went ahead and joined it, and it was me against Bastion, and we immediately had like 20 people watching. Like you get the little counter down there and get how many people are spectating, and everybody in the community was just watching me play Bastion with this Map Blasters Fear deck, and I beat him, and it was just this kind of wild moment. But then eventually, like, I think I'll take out 2 fears to put in these other cards that I really want. And I think I'll take out another one to put in this. So the build I ended up bringing to Endor was no fears at all. What I had kept from it was no Starkiller base sites, and it was just playing the bridge instead. And basically the idea, because back then, the starting interrupt that went into your hand and then pulled the shuttle was a lot cheaper. It pulled the shuttle for -2. And then, of course, when you deploy the shuttle, it pulled Kylo for -2. So you got the whole thing. You got the shuttle and Kylo set up for 5.
If I remember,
you start the game activating at least 6. So you could reliably do that every single game. So I would do that, and then like as long as I had a non-unique trooper to drop for free, or Lieutenant Doppeld to drop for 0, or even FN 2003 to drop for 1, because I had 1 left.
Yeah.
I would just do one of those, then they would hop on the shuttle, and the shuttle would fly up. And keep in mind, I'm also getting the used pile pull from Kylo. So between my starting hand and my used pile pull, chances are I'm probably going to get a barrier from those 2 areas, because I'm playing several barriers in the deck. And then, okay, your turn. You come down wherever. I'm going to barrier, your best character or your best ship. And then on my turn, I'm just going to reinforce. And it was, with the finalizer, a drain of 2 at the system, Kylo and his saber drain for 2 at the site, and then you would have a blaster ping. at the site.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, I'm going to set up like 4 or 5 damage on turn 1, and it's just going to keep going, and you're not going to be able to do anything about it. And that was kind of the idea of that deck. And then, so that won the Indoor Grand Prix. After that, they errated the starting interrupt to no longer be -2. It pulls the shuttle at full price.
Okay. I think there was also an errata to it that made it used starting instead of lost starting, because I believe it also like lost deployed shuttle from reserve, so it put another card in your lost pile that you could immediately stack.
That was part of it, and I think it became an upload instead of a download. After they errated.
Yeah.
So before, when it was -2, it's like, all right, I'll just play 2 shuttles. I probably won't activate both, and I'll just download it for 2. Now it was, okay, I have to upload this for 4.
Yeah.
And so the change that I made, so basically now the shuttle and Kylo cost a total of 7 instead of 5.
That's a lot.
So now that was more than you could reliably activate by yourself on turn 1, right? Because you're starting the game activating 6, maybe more if they give you some icons. But this was back when TRM was a deck, so them giving you icons was not a definite.
Yeah.
So I thought about just shelving it. Like, well, this isn't really a deck anymore. And then I thought of Imperial Supply. Now, there are a few other people who started to play Supply in map on GEMP around the same time I did. I don't know if they got the idea from me. I definitely thought of it myself. It's possible that there were several of us who just arrived at it independently. But anyway, the idea was to just play like 5 or 6 Imperial Supplies in map. Turn 1, pull all the stuff you can pull, then you play a Supply, activate 4, the Supply goes lost, and you have to lose 1 to do it. And then you finish setting up, same thing, you get Kylo and his shuttle out, do a use pile pull, find somebody else to go on the shuttle flies up, you flip your objective, and then once you're flipped, you stack the Supply.
Yeah.
So then on their turn, you immediately just play the Supply again and activate 4 more. And it was just a ridiculous amount of force, and same general idea where you're just threatening 4 or 5 damage for free starting at the end of turn 1. Speaking of auto setup decks, do too much.
And that's fair.
And it basically went from there. So then I tried a different idea of it where I wasn't doing the troopers and the blasters anymore. It was more like mini mains. It had like Dengar and Mara and Sanizard. I think if I were doing that now, it would probably be, Aura Singh and Inquisitors.
Yeah.
But,
So
and yeah, but it was just, the idea of it was just you use some broken interactions in order to activate a ton of force on turn 1 in order to set up a whole bunch of damage. And then it's their turn, and you get to immediately activate a bunch of force on their turn.
Yeah.
And from there, you just go.
So I gotta ask, what felt better, beating Bastion, winning the Indoor Grand Prix, or breaking map twice?
Oh man, winning the Grand Prix is definitely up there. It's hard to describe.
You beat Reed, right?
I beat Reed, on day 2.
You beat him first, and then I forget who you played in the finals. Was it Tom Kelly?
Looks like Phil.
No,
Asen.
it was. No, yeah, the finals was Phil Asen.
Okay.
The semis was Chris Kelly.
Okay, I knew it was either Chris or.
Yeah, for everybody out there who has not won a major, and I'm sure there are people out there for whom just the idea of winning a major feels like something distant and unattainable. And I think we're repeatedly told that there are really only 5 people who can ever win a major.
And there are.
And that might be true 90% of the time, right? Every once in a while, somebody will just go on a run, or somebody will just come up with a deck that nobody has thought of that turns out to just work. And
So what you're saying
it's
is
such.
you are the pinnacle of that person.
I'm an example of that person, and I'm not. I would say, that that tournament did not announce my arrival as like a top tier winning tournaments contender. Um, I've felt like I've been close a few times, um, but no, I mean it was really on the strength of like I had just a broken deck.
That's fair.
But
Well, I
like,
mean, you also
but
played. You also had to win with your light side too. So
also had to win with light side
yeah.
too. I was the beneficiary of some luck on that end, and just not really having to face most of my light deck's worst matchups.
Mm-hmm.
But
That
um,
happens.
but no, I mean, look, and not just about me, but like anybody who wins a tournament that way, who like thinks of some interaction that people haven't thought of before, or makes a broken deck that turns out to be able to just beat far superior players.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you know what? You looked at the card pool and you saw something that nobody else saw. You looked at the card pool and you made a deck that everybody else had the same opportunity to make. So like, is it unfair? I don't view that as unfair. It might, it's like that year when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl, the first one back in '02 with John Gruden.
Yeah.
It's like, are the Bucs actually the best team, or did they just figure something out
Well, I mean,
in the postseason?
that's fair. But
And
I will say this before we go on to another subject. I want to ask you one question. And this is gonna be
okay,
this is a kind of a little bit of a personal question, Lenny. So I want no offense taken. Okay. Can you do me a
okay.
favor and just explain what this is?
Did you
What
put it in the
are you
Twitch?
It's
showing
on
me?
the Twitch.
Oh,
Where on the
Sure
oh
is
It's
on
that
on the
Twitch.
Twitch. Yeah, just
yeah,
explain that for a quick second.
that's good. That was fun. I lost my fantasy football league that year, so on the following year's draft, the lose for that league at the time, the loser had to wear a costume chosen by the winner. So that's the costume that my buddy Mark chose for me, and of course the pictures ended up all over social media.
Of course,
I think I look great, and I see no
I
issue.
do. I do. I just wanted to ask, like, get it from the man, the myth. I wanted it straight from the unicorn's mouth, essentially.
I
But
Yeah,
wanted to say
no,
real quick
Julio Jones. Julio Jones is dead to me.
same,
He's the main reason.
same.
The main reason why I had to wear that outfit is I'm trying to remember what year that was, but
Yeah.
that particular year I drafted Julio Jones in the first round, and he was not good.
Yeah.
I want to say before we moved on that what Lenny's talking about there is, I think, the reason, like one of the reasons at least, that we like this game and not like chess, because
For sure.
I
Yeah.
can like you can get paired against a Bastion or a Justin Desai or a Jolson or
Yeah.
whoever, and I feel like I'm behind, but
I feel
don't feel like
intimidated for sure.
yeah, it's like I don't feel like it's
The
impossible
entire
to win.
the entire experience of day 2 at that indoor tournament was just me feeling intimidated for like 8 hours straight.
And that's fair.
Like, that's what, and then when it was over and I had won, it was just like, the
Yeah.
weight of the world being lifted off my shoulders. Like, oh my god, I
That's
don't
fair.
believe I pulled that off.
So, speaking of tournaments, really quickly, we are still in the semifinals of the Gem PC. Right after the show, Game 2 of Joker King and Adam Trenza will play. They will face they will face Timo Dussel in the championship. Dylan moved on after defeating CRG earlier today. Earlier today.
Very
also,
cool.
Also, still going on is the OCS for March. Oh, we got so many things going on here.
It's gonna be a month that's a tale of two OCSs, I think.
Right? Kyle Kruger and Bastion are our top 2 spots. Gavin is in the 3rd spot with MHT coming in 4th right now. So Kyle's looking pretty good right now. Paul Myers also he's got 3 games left.
He won another one, so he's up to 8-1.
Yeah, and oh wait, this is why I bring this up. Some guy named Lenny is sitting in 11th. So
Yeah.
you got two more games to go.
6-1. Yeah, look at my strength of schedule though.
That's fair. I will say this though, it's better than over here. I'm 0-1.
Okay,
My only loss was to
So
Chris.
what you're saying is you just have to win another 11 in a row, and
Yeah, I
you'll
can
be
do
in.
that. So on top of that, everybody get ready because we're going to have the NPC next month. 24 players have already registered unless there's an additional person. Okay, yeah, only 24 people have registered already. Lenny and Justin, I didn't see you guys on the list.
Unfortunately
You're not
not.
looking very hard then, because I'm right in the middle there.
Oh,
Oh,
you're right
you're
here.
on it, Justin?
Lenny's not on here.
I'm on.
No, I'm
on
not.
there.
I unfortunately have other plans that whole
Oh,
day
that's
on
right.
Sunday.
And I want to say that you have signed up for commentary though, so you'll be doing that.
Yeah, no, I'll be. I would prefer not to have to do all the technical stuff to figure out how to
That's
stream on
fair.
my own, but like I will absolutely hop on somebody else's stream if anybody else wants a 2-man booth
Yeah.
who's planning on streaming that Saturday. I'm all in all
So-
day.
So I will say this though, pointing out right now we have Adam Trenzo and Joker King have already signed up, so good on them, as well as Dylan. So all 3 members of the remaining final 3
And
are
CRG.
there. Yep, CRG is already signed up, but it looks like most of Team 9 Million is already signed up, so good on them. Joe Olson, our reigning world champ, has signed up. No Hayes Hunter yet, but I will say this though, the Constellation finalist and runner-up have already signed up, so good on them. Also, next month, we're going to be starting the Premiere to Death Star 2 event. I'm going to plug that again until everybody realizes it's going on. I believe we're up to 83 people on that event. And just a little bit more information on the NPC really quick. If you haven't signed up, go ahead and just click this link right here. You have until April 11th to sign up. And we will be revealing the bracket that April 14th on Holotheatre. So I'm glad to see that the marketing and the tournament committees are coming together to say that Holotheatre is the right place to announce things. And as always, here again, if you're looking to play more events this year, outside of the NPC, we got Nationals in July, Worlds in October, and a plethora of other things going on. So
that Premiere Death Star 2 event has captured a lot of my attention since I finished my OCS games like on Monday or something like that, or last week. I think I finished them last week.
I'm just going in dark. I don't care. I'm just playing 10 games. I don't care if I win, lose, or draw. I'm just playing 10 games.
Well, I started playing 2.5 years ago, so Premiere Death Star 2 is totally alien to me.
I will say this though, I played in like the old stuff, but then I went to Hawaii for 3 years and didn't play in Hawaii. So I was in Hawaii until about like 2014. So I haven't really, so I just came back in like 2014. So, but oh wait, that's still 7
Premiere
years
Death Star
ago.
2.
Wow. Crap.
Premiere through Death Star 2 would have been the meta when I was about 13. And I definitely played it for a few months. And then high school started. And I was in the drama club and I was in the marching band. And it was
None of
just
that
so
surprises
much
me.
time. And also, like, a weird thing happened to me when I started high school, which is that for the first time in my life, girls seemed to like me. Or at least not totally hate me. So that
I thought they still
that
did.
sort of took precedence. Well, I mean, all right. I just told you drama club and marching band. So based on those,
Yeah.
you can figure out how I did with that last category.
And that's fair.
But
So.
but yeah, no. So like that's around the time I got into the game, or I got out of Star Wars CCG, and I ended up not getting back into it until
playing?
about 2014.
Are you playing?
What's up?
Are you playing in the event?
Premier Death Star 2? I'm not signed up for it.
It's
as
free
of now. Right, but it's a format that I
Free.
have absolutely.
You play
like, I
10
have-
games. The PC sends you free stuff. It's free. Play.
I might have to do it then.
Play.
I know nothing about that
I
format.
know
have
nothing about
zero
the
comfort
format.
level.
Lenny, you're disappointing me. But
Well, okay.
let's go.
I'll
you know
play
what?
Just because I'm pretty sure I'll be better than Dan.
Oh, but we're going to talk about a little bit. I was going to say we're going to talk about a little bit more disappointment here, but you know what? It's another challenge I'm going to have to talk about later. So speaking of disappointment, let's go into swing and a miss really quick. Starting with our
Let's go.
first one, Joker King's astounding run will end tonight. Joker King's the lowest seed left in the tournament. He did upset Joe Olsen to get to the semifinals. Do you think he did win game 1, so do you think he's going to win game 2, or do you think he's going to make it to the finals?
So what? He won game 1 by 7?
He won game 1 by 7.
Do we have any idea what the matchup
Nope.
might be? Like,
Nope.
what have both guys been playing a lot of?
No, Joker King plays Court and OA.
But he did not play. He did not play OA last night.
Huh.
So
Yeah, he played Hick. I want to say he played what, Hicko?
yeah.
Yeah, that's not him. So I'm putting him on Court. I'm putting him squarely on Court.
Yeah, but if
I mean, putting him on court when one of the biggest decks in the meta is Hitko is ambitious.
The dude knows
Yeah.
Court.
I think putting him on court, like if you're gonna put him on court and you're his opponent, it's not that hard to make a deck that's just
No.
good against court.
It isn't. But I will say this, though. I think
So we'll see. Like, will he pivot away from court, or will he just make some changes to court that have some surprising card choices in them?
so.
It's hard to say.
I'm going to say Joker King's going to eke it out, and he's going to win the entire thing. He's on a run.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah.
The 7 diff in game 1 is so narrow that I like.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could go either way.
Hey,
I
you and
would
I are doing the
say-
commentary.
Yeah.
Put-
So we'll
come
talk
on.
about that later. But
Put your money where your mouth is.
Hey, I'd hop on the commentary.
he's gonna
for
win.
that
I think he's
too.
gonna win.
I'll be around.
Okay.
I think he's gonna win this round. And then up against Dylan, that I don't know.
Hey, I'm
I
gonna
don't
say
know
this-
what's gonna happen.
Unless Dylan.
Right.
Oh, we'll talk about this in a second. But actually, no. Let's talk about that now. So, Lenny, you got hit or miss? I need an answer.
I'm gonna say hit. Let's go, Joker King.
So, no. You're saying that
Or no,
Joker
no.
King's going to end.
Hit
that
only
Toronto-
one.
that Adam's
Yeah.
going to win. You're saying that
Right.
Adam's going to win.
Yeah. No. All right. I'm gonna say swing and a miss. Joker King's going all the way.
Yeah, I'll
Justin.
say swing and a miss. I'll say swing and a miss.
We got 3 misses. On to
So-
question 2. Dylan, and the winner of this game will finish the Gem PC before set 14 and the errata drop. They're supposed to drop on Friday, which to me, I don't like that they're dropping this early or this in between an event. I don't think that's right to the players who are still playing. You don't want to change the meta too much, but I will say this. Joker King's not playing, like, he played Hitco. Maybe this was like a last hurrah to play Hitco. I'm not a big fan of doing an errata during an event.
So
Also, all right. So it's basically asking, are the finals going to be played tomorrow?
yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's pretty much.
Yeah. So I think a similar question to this came up at an earlier Holotheatre when I wasn't hosting and I was just in the chat. And my joke answer was that they will hold set 14 until after game 1 of the final and then immediately shut down the server and upload it.
I could see Chris doing that. I could see Chris doing
Now
that as like, you know what?
Oh, man.
I want to see. I mean,
that's like possible. I don't know how I feel about that anymore.
I think if I were D&D,
please don't.
like if this game were gonna get played on like Friday evening or something like that, I would, if I'm D&D, I'm releasing the PDF
for set 14 on the forums, and then maybe just don't push it to GEMP until that's over.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't
That's
know.
fair.
I could see that.
But why release a PDF when everybody's stuck at home?
Well, why did we even have PDFs for the last couple sets?
I don't know.
I haven't looked at a physical card in a year.
What?
I
Well, I have.
definitely cut out a lot of virtual slips that I am going to throw away with having never used them.
That's
because-
Waste. It's a waste of paper and it's a waste of ink. Thanks, D&D. You're ruining the environment.
I mean, like it's like $8 on Anakin Skywalker's that I'm never gonna get back. So
Wow. Hey, Chris, you know what? I think you need to talk to Chris and be like, "Hey, I want my money back for those Anakin Skywalkers." Moving on.
Anakin Skywalkers.
So to the question.
Miss.
I forgot what the wording of the question was.
They'll finish the game
I think it's
PC.
also.
I'm
I
gonna
think it's
say it's
also
a
a
hit.
miss. I think it's also a miss.
I'm gonna say it's a hit. They figure it out.
Okay.
They get it done tomorrow.
Okay. The NPC will hit its target of 80 players by the end of March. We have today
So
is
it's
the
at what, like
17th.
24?
We have 2 weeks.
24 now.
2 weeks to get what? 54 more players or 56 more players?
24 now, yeah. So
So it's a 24 now. So will we get another 56 in 2 weeks?
I will say miss, if for no other reason than I know players love to sign up for events at the last possible moment, even ones that they know 100% they're going to play in. So,
Oh yeah, I think it'll get over 80, and I think it's
Why
not
would
going
it
to
get over
there
to 80?
until-
I mean, I
we
don't think
did
it's-
it wasn't. It
Well-
was announced that the 80 is a soft cap, I believe. Like we'll
boo.
accommodate
get-
more. We'll accommodate more than 80 if we
Yeah.
get more than 80.
You know what? I say
I
if we
think,
could.
I think it'll get to 80, but it's not going to get to 80 until like the week before the tournament because
Yeah,
these are
April
Star
9th.
Wars players.
April 9th.
The fact that we already have 24 is shocking to me.
It's not shocking to me. People have no lives at this point. It's quarantine.
I guess.
I'll say I signed up for it right away
gonna
because
say
I had
hit.
heard something about there was some sort of like pre-registration bonus for the first X players or something.
Yeah,
I
the
can't
first
remember
the
what it
first
was,
50
but-
players get a Reflections 4-pack.
Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So,
I'll sign up
yeah.
instantly for that.
Yeah,
So.
same. I'm gonna say hit on this one though. Okay, last question of the night. Player card development designs better cards than design and development.
Swing and a miss.
Hit. For one reason and one reason only.
No.
Tarkin's
Tarkin's Bounty.
G49 speed speeder.
Tarkin's Bounty. Best
No,
card in
I
Star
think
Wars.
we
Walkling was a
PCD
player card development
designs-
card.
Sure.
I mean, you
PCD
could argue
designs
whether that's good or
different.
bad though.
Vader's Emperor Enforcer was a player development card. General Kenobi, player development card. Speaking of
Lord
which,
Sidious was a player card.
hey,
I'm pretty
Lenny,
sure.
is there any cards you could talk
I
about
think
coming
so.
down the pipe really quick?
No, unfortunately,
Well, I mean, I
cannot
will
break
say
the
this
rules
though.
of
I will say
Club.
this though. You did mention.
Unless Chris, if Chris is in the chat and he wants to give me,
He is in the.
permission
He
to talk
is
about
listening
stuff.
to us. I will say this though. You mentioned Vader. Why did you mention Vader? Is this like alluding to a
I
new
mean-
Vader being released?
So this is it's up to you if you want to.
No, it's not up to
Discuss
me.
that.
No, it's not up to me.
What
it's
if
not
we
up to
take
me
a-
either, dude.
What
Well,
if we
then
take
fine.
What if you step back from it? Can you identify any of the set 14 cards that are player development cards or player cards?
Boy, let me take a look at set 14 again. I haven't actually looked at the spoiler list in
Well,
a
while
while.
you're doing that, really quick, we're going to talk about.
Well, no, I mean, I think it's just a different. It's a different. Like we're making cards under different circumstances. Where in PCD, you're basically taking one person's idea for one card and making it the best you possibly can. Where D&D has all of the leeway to make like themes, make a bunch of different cards that go together, like and do a bunch of stuff that isn't really within the purview of PCD. So it's really apples and oranges in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But let me.
Well, while you're looking really
That is a
quick,
good
let's
question.
talk about
Let
the
me take a
lore
look.
challenge. For those who are still participating in the lore challenge, please, people,
I'm gonna be here for the lore.
I've got stuff to give out. Well, no, the deck building challenge. I clicked the wrong button. So let's talk about the deck building challenge really quick. The deck building challenge again, who can battle the most during one turn. We currently have 2 people who have signed up for this. Come on, people.
I've been outdone. Someone
You
got
have.
twice as many battles as I did
Yeah.
with 2.
So the deck building challenge.
I gotta look back at that game I just played with MHT
Justin,
now to
you
see.
posted, and then Mr. Solid Snack, he posted. James Martin, who is on the marketing team. I don't know. Marketing team shouldn't get the win something. I'm joking. But yeah, only 2 people signed up for this one. I thought this was going to be a softball, people. Come on.
So I gotta look back there. We only had to battle that many times, right? You didn't have to win all of those battles.
You don't have to win, and the battle's allowed to be canceled.
Okay. I gotta look
Just
back
saying.
through to see how many times I battled in the game against MHT right before we started. I think it was only 2, but
That's a tie. And I mean, ties aren't bad, but it's like kissing your sister. So let's use the lore challenge really quick. Are you ready, Lenny?
All right, let's go.
Okay, make sure you close the database.
The database is closed. I'm not cheating.
Good. Okay. I never said you would. I'm just saying.
Oh, no, I might. That was a good thing to say, but I'm not cheating right now.
Are you ready? Your lore challenge for the night. Rebels often exploit loopholes in Imperial procedures to gain an advantage. Talk about advantages.
I'm gonna say logistical delay.
Before you get that, you have a choice. Would you like to know what type of card is, or what set?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Oh, I can pick either one.
You get to pick either one, the set or the type.
Give me the set.
Dagobah.
Ooh, okay. Oh, in that case. It could be one of 2. I'll say take evasive action.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
I am so sorry, Mr. Rubin.
Oh, was it light maneuvers?
It was hiding in the garbage.
Oh, I completely forgot about hiding in the garbage.
A Scotland Grail card hiding in the garbage. I am so sorry, sir.
Oh, well, congratulations on stumping me.
It's not that hard.
Until you give me like female
It's
scavenger, I don't think I could.
I'm usually
do any
pretty
of
good
this,
at these.
Yeah, that's why I went with a little harder one with you.
Yeah, no, you got it. That was a good move.
Okay, everybody. So, not to end this so suddenly, but I know we've got 2 players in the chat who are itching to see who will advance to the GemPC finals. Batmouse is waiting patiently to see who's going to be in the finals so he can get his prizes ready. So, I will say this. Next week, hopefully we'll have the GemPC finalists on. If not, you know what? Let's get that new marketing advocate on to see what he's going to talk to about marketing. You know, he's got a lot going on. I know he's got some good ideas. So let's get that Jared Napolitano on. Until then, I want to thank Lenny Rubin as our special guest, Justin Miyashiro. It's always a pleasure, sir. We will be live in a few minutes. We're going to take a 5-minute break. We'll be live with the semifinal Game 2 match between Adam Toronzo and Chris Hall. So stick around. We'll be back in a few. Good night, everybody.
Bye.